The recent Serbian TikTok was against one of Ukrainian favorite characters, and also Metropolitan. Is he Metropolitan or is he just a bishop?
Yes. No, he's like the Archbishop Metropolitan of
of Ukraine, and it's very touchy one. Like
not of Ukraine. It's of Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine.
Yeah. So he's very popular for some reason, and we'll tell you why. But this TikTok is just like pure gold. Let's watch it.
Look. Western media won't show you. What are they doing? They're putting a bracelet. They're putting a bracelet on this priest, this God's person, the representative of God himself.
He's so like
So this is in the Russian Orthodox Church. This person is considered to be representative of God in Russian Church in Ukraine. And let's just play fashion police for a second.
Fashion police. First of all, he looks great. Like in my opinion, he looks very
stylish.
Very stylish. Especially those shoes of his, like those shoes, they're just perfect. So we found like here they are. Like you can look better. I mean that's great. I love those shoes.
I love them.
Probably
I love those shoes.
I think they make these shoes specifically for rich priests and rich because they actually cost right now. I like how the shop is called Shoes and Shirts. They cost 645 euros.
Yes. This is what Jesus was talking all about in the Bible.
This is why you go work. I don't know, not work, serve in the church, because you want to like good things. You want to
you want to afford the shoes.
Nice things. Yeah. And this guy, his name is Pavel, whatever, and he's an archbishop, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, he's the archbishop of the diocese of Kievska Lavra, which is like the most important historic, cultural, religious center of Ukraine. And for years and years, this church, this Lavra, has been virtually occupied by Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine, their Ukrainian division, if you will. So he's the main guy there. And the reason they're putting a bracelet on him is because he's under house arrest. And you see these Serbian TikTokers, they're very concerned that the Western media will not show you these horrible repressions. But
like Soviet time repressions, almost like blowing up churches.
Yeah. And we're just, a lot of people, we're going to come to it later, a lot of people were like, oh my God, this is religious persecution. Well, look at what they're doing. And the comments on the TikTok, they're amazing. They're like, Zelensky in Ukraine's going to be punished for it. God sees everything. But Mark,
no, I'm not registered. I can't show you comments, but the comments are pure gold. Everyone is very concerned. Serbian people are very concerned. This guy, and he's like pure gold, like literally. His name in Ukraine, he's called Pasha Mercedes, because he's always going on his Mercedes, and he was like. He loves fancy things. Not only this is the day when he was arrested just recently, and the people came, they were like sorry for him, they were like saying that he's a slave of a god, etc., but this guy was wearing a scarf for 775 euros, right? Also, he was photographed in Patek Philippe, which costs several dozens of euros,
dozens of thousands of euros. Yes.
Yeah. And that's what church is about, right? Like being cool, being having power and money and girls and boys and whatever
and children.
Right.
Anyway. The point is that, I see all these Instagram bloggers flaunting their wealth, buying these expensive sneakers and these expensive shoes and these expensive scarves. They have nothing on representatives of Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine.
Those guys
They're losers. Losers.
By the way, the Russian head of Russian Orthodox Church, he's also like fancy guy. So he had this famous photo of him. It was published by his press originally with a watch. I don't remember which watch was it, but it was like very expensive. And it was
also Patek Philippe, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I remember it cost like 30,000 euros.
Yes.
And it's on the picture there, and then show the picture they have posted.
Yeah.
First.
So they posted it. Everyone noticed, and then they posted the new one, doctored one, and they forgot to doctor the part with
reflection.
Reflection. Yeah, it was the funny story. But yeah, those guys. If you want to know a little bit, I don't know if it's the same in the West, in Ukraine and in Russia as well. So rich people, corruptioners, oligarchs, they have to wear this very expensive watch, and they do it even risking their reputation, corruption charges, etc. They have to wear this watch, which costs like 30,000 euros, 50,000 euros, and they do it publicly because that's some kind of a symbol of being part of this,
of being cool.
Of being cool, big corruptioner, etc. And those guys are not an exception, because those guys are actually doing pretty well. Business, no, probably.
Yeah, business-wise, they're doing very well. So in the church canons, actually, it's kind of prohibited for priests to engage in, trade and business and have enterprises. But, screw that. Most influential priests, archbishops and whatnot, and especially when we're talking about Russian Orthodox Church, they have these businesses, these farms where they grow and sell all sorts of stuff. The reason actually this Russian Orthodox Church head of Ukraine is called Pasha Mercedes is because he owns a lot of cars and a lot of fancy ones. And one time a journalist has asked him about those cars, just asking randomly, how'd you get the car? Why do you have the car? And he was explaining that his bones hurt, so he has to use the car, has to drive around. But then he cursed her.
Can relate.
And he used this very special church curse that is if he uses that curse against you, you're then excluded from church forever.
Anathema.
Yeah, anathema, yes. So he literally cursed the journalist for asking about his super expensive car. And so it was a whole thing, especially before the 2014, before the revolution, where representatives of the church, of the Orthodox Russian Church in Ukraine especially, but not only them, but them especially, they have been, living a very luxurious life. And this is kind of the long-standing tradition that actually stems from Russian Orthodox Church in Russia, because priests and bishops there are not only very influential in the society, but also very, very rich and very, very living this amazing, luxurious life. I mean, we've shown you Russian Metropolitan with his, I think it was either, Patek Philippe or something, with his watches. I mean, it's not the first, not the last thing they have been wearing. So it's been a long-standing tradition, and it kind of messes with the whole, priesthood idea. In my head, but I'm stupid. I don't know anything. I always thought that, if you're, children of God, that you should, be living this life of worship and very kind of, not rich, that you should be teaching the people around you, your flock. And, but I guess all of that, you can throw that out the window, because apparently look what happened. Yeah.
Well, the money they get, those money are not only donations, and this is donations are cool, and people who have mega churches, they also live a fancy life. But those guys, this is very different thing, because not only donations but political corruption. They're very involved in politics. They are basically in their churches when there were elections, and this is anecdotal, but because I know it from people who were attending these churches of Moscow Patriarchy. they are like telling them who to vote for. They're like on their message.
Oh, this is a very typical story. So in 2021, a wife of a very famous Ukrainian pro-Russian politician, her name is Oksana Marchenko, he lives now in Russia, and they're all banished from Ukraine virtually. She made this movie about her spiritual journey, as you can see now on the screen. This is a skull of a Russian priest that she is proceeding to kiss and sniff. Not weird at all. Anyway, she made this movie about her spiritual journey where she actually did the small interview, like a conversation with Pasha Mercedes. And he said something
with fancy shoes.
Yes, this guy. So they were talking, and he said something very interesting to her. He said that some time ago, a serial killer came to him, and this is a very famous serial killer. His name is Anatoly Onuprienko. He was born and then lived and killed people in Soviet Union and later in Ukraine. So he killed 52 people, right? Officially. And Pasha Mercedes, the priest, said, oh yes, this guy came to me and he confessed his murders to me. And by the way, there weren't 52, there were 56. And you know what he did? He just forgave him his sins and let him go.
Because that's what Christianity is about, right?
It's about, yes, this is redemption. This is redemption. You just go, oh, do you feel sorry for killing these 56 people? Oh, yeah, I do feel so sorry. It's fine, you can go. He didn't report him to the police. He never told him to go to the police and confess. He was showing off in front of this woman how this famous serial killer, like a celebrity, came to him because he is so influential. This is actually sick. It's not even about, is it actually corroborating, like, is it actually being complicit in covering up a crime?
It is.
Isn't this a fucking crime?
Absolutely.
Jesus.
And
this is the scale of person we're talking about here. This is exactly the kind of...
It's not only him, it's how this church works, operates, actually. Like, maybe not all of it, but the leadership, especially.
But the thing is that they also have other sources of income. And this has been the main area of concern because, Pasha Mercedes was not arrested for owning a scarf.
Yeah,
and that
by
is
the
very
way,
important.
that's not the corruption is not the point there. The point there is they were working for Russia. That's unbelievable. The Russian Orthodox Church was actually working for Russia.
FSB, for Russian, yes, for Russian forces. And this is the picture from the raids back in autumn, I believe, where they raided other churches of Russian Orthodox, not churches, but monasteries, or people where priests and stuff lived. And they found these amazing things, like they have found these leaflets that support separatist movements and pro-Russian movements. They found leaflets from a party that was funded by Russia, whose founder Medvedchuk is currently was exchanged and sent to Russia in exchange for some Ukrainian prisoners of war. There were these leaflets, like they are very kind of embedded in education in a lot of regions. So there are lots of materials for children, and so apparently representatives of Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine are working in the interest of a country that is murdering and committing mass genocide against Ukrainians, Russia. That is a very big surprise. The person we've shown you before, the guy with cool scarves and whatnot, he's actually the so-called vicar, used to be the vicar of that lavra. So the main guy, he lived there, he spent his time there, and so he doesn't want to leave, obviously. And I don't know what's going to happen to him. I'm pretty sure it's very easy to convict him. There are so many proofs of his wrongdoings and his work for Russian Federation. I don't know what's going to happen though, because nevertheless, even in spite of war and despite everything, they still have a big fan base of supporters. They have all the support from FSB and KGB behind their backs. But I'm actually happy something is changing.
By the way, yeah, and that's the whole another point. By the way, here's our guy having a good time with Mr. Putin.
So yeah, you can see Pasha Mercedes is shaking hands with Putin, and then in the back you can see the head of Russian Orthodox Church of Russia, Kirill Hunyayev, sitting there,
so they are
smiling
connected
gleefully. Yeah, they're all friends.
It's not a conspiracy. We're not crazy. They're friends.
We're a bit crazy, but they are friends.
So yeah, and, there's another conspiracy, which is not a conspiracy actually, but sounds crazy. It's popular misconception that there was no church in USSR, right? That's the USSR was oppressing churches, it was anti-Christian, etc., which was true until some point, until Second World War, and they were destroying churches, of course, killing bishops, etc., killing lots of priests, making churches public spaces, horrible stuff. But otherwise, in 1942, Stalin decided to reverse this policy, and what he did, he didn't need a church as a independent thing. But if he would oppress the church, it would be independent. He wanted the church to become this dependable governmental structure, and throughout the time until very end of the United USSR, throughout the time the church became just a part of KGB, and they were working. And the fun part. Very recently, the Swiss media found out, made an investigation that Putin's patriarch Kirill, which is calling for genocide of Ukraine today, which is the head of the church, which is the head of this church, which is oppressed in Ukraine right now, he was an agent, a KGB agent in Switzerland on this council of churches in 70s. And that's not a coincidence, because most of these guys, most of these dudes, high-ranking dudes, they are actually agents of previously KGB, now FSB. And if you have Russian Orthodox Church in your city, and you probably have if you live in a big city somewhere in Europe.
Paris, Berlin, Munich, I'm pretty sure,
you can be pretty
Italy.
Sure it's run by FSB. These guys, they report to FSB, they listen to what people are talking about. They are part of a community, local Russian community. They all are agents. And if you think the Russian embassy is a place for agents, no, the Russian Orthodox Church is. Yeah,
Russian embassy are a bunch of losers in comparison, because have you ever seen an embassy collect a whole bunch of people every Sunday and talk all sorts of stuff they want to tell them? Have you seen people going to an embassy religiously for years every Sunday? No. But you know where they go to? They go to their church. And this is where the communities grow. So as you said, USSR was the first to recognize kind of the potential of church. And they have actually used Russian Orthodox Church and weaponized it in order to destroy the so-called national churches in different republics of the USSR, including and especially church in Ukraine. And this is the reason why for years the Russian Orthodox Church was kind of monopolizing faith and monopolizing kind of Christianity in Ukraine. And it happened until 2014, when we had the Revolution of Dignity and everything. So it was actually used as an instrument so that Ukraine could never have our own church, and so that we could never kind of take control of that aspect of our lives. And so now, obviously, with this age of digital and whatever, it's very easy to paint this as some kind of religious persecution or religious oppression. In reality, it's just everything is being put back in its original proper place.
Yeah, fun fact. Ukraine was until very recently, until 2019, was the only Orthodox country which didn't have its own church. Like Serbia had its own church, Poland had, Poland's not Orthodox, every Orthodox country has its own church. Ukraine didn't have.
Greece, Moldova, Hungary. Of course, when we talk about Europe, we talk about Catholicism a lot. But
Ukraine didn't have its own church.
Where there is an Orthodox church, every country had their own, except for Ukraine, which is strictly prohibited from having our own Orthodox Church, and our churches and Orthodox priests were to answer to the patriarchy in Moscow, which is, I find it ridiculous at this point.
So for years, this church was working for Russia and was propagating anti-Ukrainian stuff to Ukrainians. Then they were ignoring COVID during the COVID times. A lot of them died because of this. Actually, there was like
a lot of people who came to the churches in times of COVID actually died
because
of horrible
they told them
death
not to wear masks, not to do shots, etc., etc.
Excuse me. Not only just that, they told them deliberately to kiss a cross. So we have this tradition in Ukrainian Orthodox say you have to stand in line and everybody kisses the same cross that the priest holds. So like, of course you have to, because other churches were like, we shouldn't kiss the cross because of contamination and COVID. And Russian Orthodox were like, no, you have to kiss the cross. It's almost as if they were interested in getting as many Ukrainian people sick as possible. Maybe a conspiracy, but they were actually saying, no, you should always kiss the cross. Who cares? It's COVID. And people were without masks, licking each other, basically. It's weird.
Yeah, they were praying after Russia started the full-scale invasion and killing lots of Ukrainians. They were praying for Patriarch Kirill, who was the head of Russian Orthodox Church in Moscow, who was actually calling Russians for a holy war to go kill Ukrainians. They were hosting, probably, this is allegedly, but lots of reports of them hosting in 2014 Russian separatists, actually Russian agents on the territory of Lavra in Donbas region in Slavyansk. They were also they called people to go vote for pro-Russian politicians. They were stealing money. Apparently, they were loving fancy shit. And so, like, at which point, like, closing these guys, shutting this organization down, and persecuting those people is, I don't know, is against human rights or something. At which point, like...
Yes, even if we skip all that and blame it all on some kind of, it was all a coincidence. Security Service of Ukraine was actually investigating Pasha Mercedes for a very long time. And they have been they've been tapping his phones. And it was actually happy to see Kherson occupied. He was actually saying that this war is a war of America with Russia on Ukrainian soil. He was hoping that, he was happy about missile strikes, on the territory of Ukraine. But he was saying stuff like, well, they were attacking American biolabs in the territory of Kyiv, but they accidentally hit the residential building. But he said it was actually kind of justified because in his head, Ukraine was provoking Russia to do so. And we all know the entire story of, biolabs in Ukraine, which is complete bullshit. But the point is, he actually called members of Ukrainian territorial defense like assholes.
Oh yeah.
Just he like for just because that's what he believes in. Yes, praying for Kirill, who's known for blessing rockets and weapons that are flying on Ukrainians' heads every day. This is not in any way, shape, or form kind of persecution of religious freedoms. It's literally getting rid of a Russian asset and getting rid of the Russian means of soft power. This is what it is. This is what they've been doing for years. And it's very, very sad that we actually have to explain these things to people now, because for some reason people think, if it's a Russian church, it means it's a church and not anything else but an instrument of Russian influence. Yeah. It just makes me sick.
There are tons of religious organization. The religious freedom is in Ukrainian constitution, and none of those religious organization work for Russia, do anything pro-Russian, say anything pro-Russian. Muslims, Jews, Muslim community, Jewish community, Ukrainian Catholic community, Ukrainian Orthodox Church, they're all pro-Ukrainian, obviously, because this is the side of the good guys, and they couldn't be for Russia in any way, because it just doesn't make any sense. And even
so, any church wants to be its own kind of organization. Ukrainian Orthodox Church of Ukraine, actual Ukrainian one, they don't want to, be under Russian rule because they are a subject themselves, and it's fine and it's normal, and they feel responsible for their flock, and they, have their own kind of ideas, and it's fine. This is what religious freedom is, right? They can do whatever in terms of, legality. We have all sorts of churches in Ukraine and all sorts of religions, and everybody's fine. It's just a matter of national security. I'm sorry to say this. I still cannot fathom why is this such a surprise for so many people.
Okay, Melania, what's the verdict? Do we shut down those fuckers?
I've been dreaming of this for 10 years. It was a mini celebration mark for me yesterday because I don't hate church as a concept. I don't care about it. It's fine. Church is awesome. I'm a graduate of a Catholic school and a Catholic university twice. I've studied in Catholic University twice. I went there for the first time and I liked it so much I went there the second time. I have nothing against religions, whatever. It's just I hate Russian agents. I really hate them. So they can go fuck themselves. I really don't care. I really don't care. I'm sorry if it offends you, but if it offends you, it means it's offending you because you like Russia and you hate Ukrainians and you like genocides. That's just it.
Yeah. And with this, we are ending our stuff.
On this positive note.
And we are asking you to subscribe to this channel, to donate to our Patreon, probably, or subscribe. Like there's paid subscription to the podcast, right, on YouTube. So
you can also find this podcast on Spotify now.
Oh yeah, now the podcast is available on Spotify, and if you don't want to
see our faces,
yeah, just.
You can go to Spotify.
Correct. Thank you, Melania. And thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. Bye.